When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico.
I feel like Canelo's a fucking pussy.
Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. The end is there for Canelo.
David Benavidez, the undefeated Mexican monster, is leaving no doubt about his intentions.
Maybe the most feared fighter in boxing. Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying, you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude who fights like that. Oh, Canelo's ducking him. This dude's a monster. And I looked and I thought, am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're definitely right. You're looking at a man that's not going to let anything outside the ring, mess with his game. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not scared of nothing. I accept and I invite war. So if that's what the people of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia want to see, well, let's give it to them. I think everybody is starting to see that I'm fearless, I'm relentless, and I'll fight anybody to get my respect in the ring.
After watching Canelo Alvarez fall to Terence Crawford, Benavidez has been outspoken and direct, no longer just calling for a fight, but outright accusing Canelo of being afraid. For years, one name has haunted Alvarez, a challenge he's consistently avoided.
Spinning back on Canelo, he was talking about how he didn't want to give David Benavidez the fight because he was being disrespectful.
When you look at the history of Canelo, all the fighters that was disrespectful, calling them out, and he fought all of them. But I just think from a Mexican standpoint, one being extra disrespectful towards the other, he took the sport out of it, and he just felt as if he wasn't going to give Benavidez the payday that he wanted.
Benavidez is ready to finally settle the score and claim his throne. Now, after Canelo's shocking defeat to Terence Crawford, that looming shadow has become impossible to ignore. Just weeks ago, the boxing world was shaken when Crawford, the undisputed welterweight king, moved up 2 weight classes and delivered a performance that made Canelo look human. It wasn't just a loss. It was a masterclass that stripped away some of the mystique surrounding the Mexican superstar. Even respected trainers like Ronnie Shields hinted that Canelo's best days might be behind him.
I predicted Crawford by unanimous decision. He got that. I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. The end is there for Canelo.
Meanwhile, Oscar De La Hoya offered a sharp breakdown of where Canelo went wrong. This wasn't just another fight, it was a defining moment that opened the door to a long-awaited challenge. In an exclusive Inside the Ring interview, David Benavidez himself acknowledged Crawford's historic achievement, extending heartfelt congratulations and recognizing that Crawford has reached a place in history few fighters ever achieve. Benavidez said Crawford deserves a spot on boxing's Mount Rushmore for moving up 3 weight divisions and becoming undisputed at super middleweight. Not only is he a great fighter, Benavidez added, but you could see in that fight how much of a dog he is, suggesting that other fighters could learn from Crawford's heart.
First of all, I just want to give Terence Crawford a great congratulations. He's reached a part in history that only so many fighters get to even accomplish in boxing. He's one of the greatest of all time. There's nothing, you can't take that away from him. Terence Crawford should be on the Mount Rushmore in boxing because not only did he go up 3 weight classes, he beat one of the best fighters of this generation. I don't remember any time in history where anybody has come up from 147 pounds and won the super middleweight championship. Not only just won, but the undisputed. He's won every single title. So, that man, not only is he a great fighter, but you could tell in that fight by seeing this combination right now how much of a dog he is. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of fighters could take a lot of notes from Terence Crawford, not only physically, but take notes in the heart aspect. And I give it all up to Terence Crawford. He's one of the greatest of all time. And, we salute Terence Crawford.
Long before Crawford's stunning victory, Benavidez had been relentlessly pursuing Canelo, a ghost haunting the super middleweight division.
I got 3 WBC belts right here. I'm the best in the division. If they want to give me an opportunity now or later, I'm gonna keep winning. Like I said, I'm gonna be the greatest of my generation by the time I'm done. And my job is not complete until I make that happen. For Canelo and everybody else, it just shows everybody I'm not f***ing around. I'm here to stay. I just look at the facts. The people want to see this fight more than Carlos Adames and Charlo. That's why that fight hasn't happened. But for me and Canelo, we have motion. I've been winning the fights I'm supposed to win in fantastic fashion. He has nobody else to fight. You know what I mean? So if they want to give it to me now, later, whenever, I'm not going to.
For years, Benavidez, a two-time WBC world champion with a dominant record of 30 wins, 0 losses, and 25 knockouts, held the interim title, a direct threat to Canelo's undisputed reign.
I don't really like to bash somebody because at the end of the day, I give respect to Canelo. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
But wanting to fight him, David, is not bashing him.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram.
Right.
If I say something, they say this or that. But I only want what I earned.
Right.
And I'm entitled to it. From what the WBC told me, they say you win the title limiter, we'll give you a title shot. You win the WBC interim title, we'll give you a title shot. I've been in this position for 3 years. So just because Canelo, he could do what he wants, as he says.
Right.
He's not going to fight the top competition. And he's holding all those belts hostage, bro. And it's not like, you got other great fighters too. You got me, and David Morrell's there. Yeah. How is it fair that these sanctioning bodies let him pick and choose who he wants to fight? And then the Canelo fans too that be talking shit, bro. Like, do you guys not want to see the best fights?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I'm just trying to make the best fights happen. And that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to give the fans what they want to see.
Yeah.
The talk wasn't just rumors, it was real. Reports emerged of a staggering $70 million offer made to Canelo for the showdown, an offer Benavidez himself confirmed, adding that he'd agreed to a flat $5 million just to make the fight happen.
I'm not scared of nobody. I've heard everybody that's been in front of me, and Canelo's no different. And I will hurt him too, and I'll take all his belts. It's crazy that he asked for $150 million or $200 million to fight me, but he still has the nerve to say that I don't bring nothing to the table. So if I didn't bring nothing to the table, why are you asking for more money than you won in your whole career if I don't mean anything? Maybe after he gets that money, he can buy himself a pair of balls. What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a f what you guys want. He's not gonna give you the best fights. He's gonna fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him shit and they're happy with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, if you hold all the titles, you got to fight the best in the division. I'm #1 in the division, #1 contender. The second one is David Morrell. He's not fighting me, nor he's not fighting David Morrell. So it makes no sense. How is he going to call himself the champion and have all these belts if he doesn't fight the #1 or the #2 guys? He's asking $200 million. Why, when they bring my name up with him, that's the most money he's gonna make. When he fought Amir Khan, he outweighed him by like 25 pounds. But, you know, I think it's just he's running out of excuses and running out of things to say, but that's just how it is. I guess that's when you're the cash cow, you can do whatever you want.
But after Benavidez agreed, the phone went silent. No response. No negotiation, just deafening silence. And this wasn't coming from an unproven contender. Benavidez had earned his place the hard way. His 2 most recent performances cemented his claim. First, by systematically breaking down and dominating Caleb Plant in a brutal grudge match, and then by completely dismantling the undefeated and highly skilled Demetrius Andrade, forcing his corner to stop the fight.
Been in a ring with both guys, Canelo and Benavidez. If they fought, which I don't think they're gonna fight no time soon, who you think will win?
Man, that's hard to say. I think both have pros and cons. You know, I feel like the things that Canelo does better than David. There's things that David does better than Canelo. In a way, I'm not comparing it to this fight, but it's like the better be of Bivol fight. You can say who you think is gonna win. You can't say like, oh man, I'm surprised that Bivol won, or I'm surprised that Better Be of won. You're like, man, that's a damn good fight. So-and-so won. So kind of how I feel about the David and Canelo fight, like who had the best camp, who has the best game plan, who slept the best the night before.
And it's not much that separates guys at that level.
If David could get on him with his combinations and not give him room to breathe, then, you know, that's probably a night that David gets his hand raised. You know, if Canelo is able to slow the pace down a little bit and catch him with a big shot, David's been dropped before from an off-balance shot. He wasn't really hurt, but, you know, would you be surprised if Canelo stopped him? You know, no. So it's hard to say, but I get asked that.
Reflecting on his journey, Benavidez said, "Since I was 3 years old, I've had one dream only, and that's becoming the greatest boxer of all time. That's exactly what we're going to accomplish." That burning ambition, he explained, drives him to chase the biggest names in the sport.
You're looking at the one that's gonna chase all of them. Like, these guys are monsters, but this is the monsters world.
And what happened next only added fuel to the fire.
if Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You
steroids.
think he's on steroids?
Of course. Sure. How does
You saw De La Hoya
how do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? No, all those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
Call for David Benavidez once this fight is done. Is that a fight that you can see happening before the end of your career?
Look, I never say no to anything. We'll see later. But I'm focused 100% on this fight.
Is there a possibility, or you just go one at a time and you also speak with your team?
Yeah, I go one at a time, but it's a possibility, always.
Right.
But I've been in this position my whole life. One was Dustin Throne in 2012, 11. Then Mayweather, then Lara, then Cotto, then Callum Smith, then Golovkin, and then if I beat Benavidez, it's gonna be other guy there they want me to fight. Right. I've been in this position my whole life, but is that time when that fight they ask, I give it to them. Mm-hmm. But right now in this position I am, now is the time I need to ask. Right? If the money is right,
Canelo's silence ignited Benavidez's fury, leading to a string of fiery statements. In that same Inside the Ring interview, when asked how Canelo has handled his presence, Benavidez didn't hold back. "He's definitely scared of me," he said bluntly. He questioned Canelo's logic. If you've got a fighter talking all this trash about you, why not make an example of him? "Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money." Benavidez went on to point out Canelo's struggles against bigger, stronger fighters like Dimitri Bivol, explaining, "He sees a lot in me that he can't stop, not just the speed and power, but the heart." He emphasized his own fearlessness, adding, "It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter, because that only elevates who I am as a boxer and as a competitor."
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. If you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. Not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter because I know that elevates me and who I am as a competitor.
Now growing in confidence and entering his prime, Benavidez firmly believes Canelo missed his chance. If he had a chance to beat me, it was back then. He has no chance of beating me now.
At the end of the day, he should have took the fight with me way back then because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. He has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this. I'm getting all this confidence. I'm stepping into my prime. I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. You know what I mean? I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to. Every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight, and like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there, I tear everybody up.
This isn't just talk. It's a declaration of intent. But the story goes deeper. The saga also involves weight divisions and the hesitation of other top fighters. Benavidez has recently tested the light heavyweight waters, making it clear he's comfortable there. When asked directly if he could still make 168 pounds, he dismissed it immediately. To be honest, man, let Terence Crawford enjoy his moment. That's his lane. I lost interest in 168 a long time ago. I'm more comfortable at 175. I'm chasing Artur Beterbiev. I'm chasing Dimitri Bivol, and even Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight.
There comes a time the new guy steps up that says, I am the new guy to carry that torch forward.
Kind of like how when you beat Tyrone Woodley, because you were the guy coming up and Tyrone Woodley was a dominant champion for a long time and you beat the shit out of him. It's the same thing. I'm preparing very hard for this fight whenever it does happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I stay training, I stay evolving as a fighter. Not only do I want to prove to the fans, but I want to prove to myself that I'm the best in the world. So if the fight comes, good, If it doesn't, it's not the end of my career. And if he doesn't want to give me the opportunity at 168, that's why I'm going up to 175 right now. Because I'm not going to wait for nobody either. This fight's going to put me at the #1 contender to fight for the WBC title. And those are going to get unified in 175. So, you know, like I said, dreams always come true. It doesn't matter if somebody else is trying to stop you. You're going to find your own way and you're going to make your dreams come true.
To be honest with you, man, let Terence Crawford live. That's his weight class.
Okay.
I lost interest in 168 a long time ago. You know, I mean, I know that we could get offered a lot of money to go down to 168, but I'm more comfortable at 175. I'm chasing Benavidez. I'm chasing Bivol. You know, I'm chasing these other bigger. I'm chasing Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. You know what I mean? So I've been at 168, but I have no interest in going down.
That shift further complicated the Canelo narrative, hinting that Benavidez might outgrow the division Canelo once ruled. Adding another twist after Crawford's monumental win, his trainer Brian Bomac McIntyre quickly shut down any idea of a fight with Benavidez, saying, "We're not interested in that." This left Canelo in an awkward spot, with fewer and fewer excuses to avoid the one fight fans truly want.
It's not that important to me to watch Canelo get beat like a rag doll all over the ring. It's not that important to me, bro. And that's what's going to happen if you fight David Benavidez. So the only reason that we really interest you is that you have to see that. I don't care to see Canelo get beat up like that. It doesn't really...
I'm not saying he gets beat up, but
I think he gets hammered.
Okay, but regardless. So if David Benavidez wins the fight, that's my point. I think David's going to be the next star. And Canelo has to do what great Mexican legends do. They fight the next guy. They all do that. I want that. I think that's important for the legacy of the sport, for the legacy of the Mexican. That's the problem.
Why do we have to
therein
care
lies
more
the
than
problem.
Canelo, though?
But Canelo, you know what Canelo does care about? The green.
Wow.
The green, obviously. The 150, 200 million, he cares.
In life,
there's
everything
200
is
million,
about that now.
there's 200 million thoughts about caring for that fight now. So, okay, listen, we make that fight. However we make that fight happen, I think it's important for that fight to happen. I really do. I think David Benavidez has that star quality to be the next face of boxing. And beating Canelo, I think, really mattered.
Still, Canelo had options, or so it seemed. He now finds himself at a critical crossroads in his storied career. With the Crawford loss still fresh and a rematch ruled out, his schedule has opened up. He still owes 2 more fights under his current contract, and speculation is swirling about his next move. Many observers agree that Benavidez is the obvious choice, a fresh, dangerous opponent who's earned his shot.
They're going to say, yeah, you fighting, but you're avoiding the monster. You understand me? That's going to tank the rest of his career if he keeps trying to fight. Well, it's tough to say because he's made enough money that he can retire. He really has nothing else to prove. We saw him go up. He tested himself all the way up as far as he could go. He won the light heavyweight title, then he lost to B-Ball. So that shows that the light heavyweight was his ceiling. And that's good enough. Really, right now, he got nothing else to prove. You know, I mean, of course, if you keep fighting, people going to demand you fight the monster because both you guys are Mexican. But to me, you probably shouldn't do that. You understand me? It's probably not a good fight for you at this point, for real, especially coming off a loss to Terence Crawford. It's just, to me, I don't see the hunger there to really beat the monster. You understand me? And that's what my problem was already. I didn't think it was a good fight for him because I don't think the hunger is there. Terence Crawford just showed us that the hunger is really not there anymore like that. You understand me? So you have to be extraordinarily hungry to go out there and beat the monster because you got to put pressure on him from round 1 to round 12 or it's not going to work. And if you're not hungry, you're not going to do that. Same thing he would have had to do to Terence Crawford. He had to put pressure on him from round 1 to round, I'm talking about solid pressure, no space between them. He had to be in his chest for 12 rounds. But he ain't hungry enough to really do that. So if you're not hungry enough to do that, don't go waste your time. Just call it a day because everybody gonna want to see you fight the monster. I don't know if they're gonna be cool as you fight anybody else, but they're gonna keep pushing the monster narrative at you. You feel me? Now, if he wants to have a few more fights for himself, that's cool. But then it's gonna get very tainted with the fact they're gonna say, yeah, you fighting, but you're avoiding the monster. You understand me? That's gonna tank the rest of his career if he keep trying to fight. So it's better for him to just.
Yet there's always the lingering fear that Canelo might choose an easier fight to preserve his record, extending his reign with more manageable opponents. The boxing world is holding its breath, wondering if Canelo will finally take the challenge, or continue down the path of least resistance.
Look, Canelo never ducked anyone in his career until you got to super middleweight. And he clearly has not fought you even though you were the #1 guy. But otherwise, he's been a guy who's willing to fight everyone. And I have thoughts about that I want to ask you about.
But I don't care. I fight anybody. And I fight all my entire life, anybody. What do you think? I don't want to fight with Juan Mexico or Benavidez. But look, I hear his dad talking a lot of shit. But look, what he's look, he's accomplished nothing. One single champion, Anthony Dirrell. Please, don't disrespect myself. Please, guys.
But now there's a powerful new figure shaping these high-stakes decisions. Turki Al-Sheikh, the influential chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, who's been transforming the boxing landscape with unmatched financial power. His influence is massive, and he hasn't hesitated to tease mega-fights. In a surprising tweet, Al-Sheikh even hinted at a potential super middleweight clash between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez, an explosive matchup that could bypass Canelo altogether. With Saudi backing, the financial stakes have never been higher.
I feel like Canelo's a fucking pussy. That's just my opinion. Because if we ever fight, the man is making well over $100 million. You know what I mean? If, let's say, he's saying that I don't have nothing to offer, that I'm nobody, that I need more experience, this and that. If you're gonna make $100 million fighting somebody that has no experience, that he sucks, this and that, all this shit that they've been talking about me, why would you not come beat my ass and collect a big bag on my head after the fight? Like, this is the same shit I'm doing with David Morrell. You know what I mean? It's the hardest fight, but I'm not scared of nobody. You know what I mean? Like I said, I embrace the challenges. So for Canelo and his fans saying that I don't bring nothing to the table, I don't do this, I don't do that, man, they're all scared, just like how he's scared. You know what I mean? And if he wants to come prove that I ain't shit, come prove it in front of everybody. It's that easy.
Canelo's own deal with Riyadh season means his future bouts are now deeply tied to these powerful new players, making boxing politics as dramatic as the action itself. The truth is simple. Benavidez versus Canelo isn't just another fight, it's the fight. Benavidez represents the undefeated, unrelenting force that Canelo seems to be avoiding. Fans are tired of excuses and detours. They want the best to fight the best. And the perception of Canelo being scared isn't fading. It's starting to overshadow his incredible legacy.
You know, there's no way Canelo would face David Benavidez. You know, to be honest, he would. I would say that he would send him to a hospital. You know, the body's not the same no more. David's super strong, young, and I believe that fight will never happen.
You know, fans prefer to see the fight against David, but could you possibly see maybe even before or after getting to that fight with Crawford?
No, I don't think, that's very sad for him to leave boxing that way. You know, he did a lot for boxing, but he's not recognizable like a true champion because he did not face David, and that ghost is always going to be there. The shadow is always going to follow him around because he didn't fight David. But at the end of the day, I think Canelo, could make exhibition fights. He don't need the belts. He's already recognized. A lot of people would watch him fight and still make big fights. He could fight against the YouTuber, what's his name? Jake Paul. That could be another great fight. I mean, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. So he still, could make exhibition.
This fight wouldn't just settle a long-standing rivalry. It would reignite the entire super middleweight division with fresh excitement and credibility. Benavidez voiced his frustration with fighters who chase easy paydays, saying it's not about the money, it's about giving fans the fights they deserve. "Let's go to war," he declared passionately. "Let's do what the people want to see us do. Let's go to war. And may the best man win."
That they deserve. They're paying the money at the end of the day, so fuck, let's go to war. Let's do what these people want us to see us do, and let's go to war. And may the best man win.
He even flipped the power dynamic, saying, "I wasn't planning to go back down to 168, but if Canelo wants to come up, he can. I've got the WBC title at 175. After I beat Beterbiev, I'll have all the belts. And once that happens, I'll be the one in control." Benavidez continued. "Canelo says he fights for greatness, for titles. Well, I'll go collect them, and then he can come talk. If it's my destiny to go through these hard fights and win these world titles, that's what I'll do. That's what boxing is all about."
Does the Crawford loss affect Canelo's legacy? I mean, it affects it in the sense that had he won, it's a zero-sum game. Had he won, his legacy would have been enhanced. Although people would have said he beat a smaller fighter, but he lost. What that does is put Canelo in the following light. When he fought the best fighters who could also box, who could also move of his era, he lost. I don't mean he had trouble with Lara and the fight could have gone any way, or either way, or Austin Trout and it was competitive. I mean when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he was pre-prime, fought Floyd Mayweather, he lost. when he fought Dimitri Bivol, who actually is a naturally larger fighter and in his prime, and Canelo maybe was towards the tail end of his, he lost. And when he fought Terence Crawford, who, largely because he beat Canelo, is considered an all-time great, he lost.
So what's next for the Mexican monster and the pound-for-pound king? David Benavidez continues his relentless pursuit, his confidence unshaken, determined to prove his worth. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez stands at a career-defining crossroads. With his aura cracked and his options narrowing, the pressure to finally face his fiercest rival has never been greater.
Hey Caleb, if Canelo doesn't choose to fight Benavidez throughout his career, do you think that tarnishes his legacy just a little bit?
I don't know. I can't say. He's had a great fight, a great career. You know, he's had a lot of big fights. You know, he's still a Hall of Famer. So
I think that he's a very accomplished fighter already as it is. He's fought Triple G. He fought Kovalev. You know, he's a boogeyman. I mean, a lot of people didn't want to fight him. Bivol, you know, another still fighter, Cotto. So he's taken up a lot of fighters. You know, I don't think they'll see it that way. I mean, although I would say that a lot of us boxing fans want to see the fight. If he doesn't take it, it's not gonna affect his legacy. But I mean, it would just leave us with the question of what would have happened, what could have happened, right?
Will he silence the critics and step into the ring with Benavidez? Or will his legacy forever be marked by the fight he chose not to take? The answer will define not only the twilight of Canelo's career, but also the future of the entire super middleweight division. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our next upload. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, stay tuned. We'll see you in the next video.